the attempted assassination, as you just heard from the police commissioner and his captain a moment ago, of a Philadelphia police officer on the streets of Philly while on patrol last night. Steve Rogers is a retired lieutenant detective for the Nutley, New Jersey Police Department and a frequent guest here on Fox. He joins us by phone. You must find those pictures perhaps even more chilling than the rest of us do, because you've been there. You've been in that car patrolling the streets.
How this officer survived is miraculous. To see the rapid gunfire and then the suspect to lean into the car and open fire, as that police commissioner said, absolutely miraculous. John, let me add this. The Philadelphia PD is handling this superbly. They know what they're doing. They're taking a very methodical approach towards the investigation. But we've said many times on your show over the years that the war on terror is coming to America. The battlefield is no longer going to be overseas. It's going to be here on our streets. And what we saw in this one incident, and I hope to God it isn't repeated, is a direct assault on the defenders of the people of this country on our own streets.
Yeah, you well know, I mean, there are people who just, for whatever reason, are never going to like the police. And you put a handgun in their hands, they might want to open fire. But all of a sudden, you've got this ISIS thing out there, and it almost offers a convenient excuse for people who might want to do that kind of thing. Do you worry that ISIS suddenly allows a whole new avenue of attacks on police officers?
Oh, yeah, no question about it, because what ISIS is doing is giving people a motive, it's giving them a purpose, and it's giving them a cause. I mean, look, I understand this individual may already have a criminal record. The point is that these individuals, the pattern is they have a beef with the American government, and the way that they're going to go after the American government is to attach themselves to a terrorist organization, and this is what they're going to do. You're going to see things like this. There's no question in my mind, based on what the PD said, this was ISIS-inspired. Therefore, this is a terrorist attack. And the government, as your prior guest, who's very excellent, by the way, spoke about the government versus the PD definition of this. The government's going to have to get on board and say and admit we are at war. Now we've got to fight this war. Okay,
so give us the detective's perspective. We know that they are already searching a couple of prior residences or maybe current residences where this suspect lives or lived. What else do they do beyond that? We know he's an ex-con. Do they go find, other cellmates of his in prison? How do they go about pinning down what led to this attempted assassination last night?
Well, a number of things are going on as we speak. The National Joint Terrorism Task Force is deeply involved. They're going to look at electronic footprints. Now, these are going to be footprints from a computer. They're going to be footprints from a cell phone. I'm sure once the search warrant is executed in the individual's residence, they're going to get all that information. They're going to look for little notes. They're going to look for books that might have things written in it. And you're absolutely right, John. They're going to go back to the prisons he was in, and they're going to talk to every single cellmate or every single person in that prison when he was there to see if he communicated with them exactly what he was going to do. But the big key here is going to be the FBI. If they could find an electronic footprint from him to ISIS or someone in this country who may be involved with ISIS, which means this may be part of a bigger plot. I hope to God it's not.
This is, we understand, the first picture of the man who is now charged with attempting to murder that police officer last night. Again, we're not releasing his name at this point, but this is the picture of the man who was arrested after he was shot in an incredible act of bravery, if you ask me, by the police officer he had just tried to kill. That police officer did get out of his car, return fire, hit the suspect at least one time, perhaps 3 times, and that suspect was arrested. You see his picture there on the left of your screen. So, Detective Rogers, tell us what happens now. I mean, from the standpoint of Philadelphia police officers, this guy was driving his car last night, apparently didn't have a call, didn't have, lights and siren on. He's just doing his job, patrolling the neighborhood, and out of nowhere comes this guy with a gun. So when Philly officers go out on the streets tonight, and frankly, officers all over this country, what are they going to be thinking? Are they going to be on edge?
Well, I mean, you just took the words out of my mouth. First thing that came to mind, the officer was driving alone. Every single police department in this country is now going to have to double up their manpower. They're going to have to put two cops in these cars. Look, you're right. This was a crime of opportunity for this guy, or shall I say a terrorist attack of opportunity. It just so happens that that officer went down that street and this guy targeted him. No doubt he was waiting for any officer. I worry about police officers walking the beat alone. So the first thing police departments are going to have to do is look at their manpower, and they're going to say, look, we better double up. We're at war, fellas. This is no longer, your so-called individual criminal looking to commit a crime. These are terrorist attacks. That's number one. Number two, they're going to have to beef up their intelligence resources. There's got to be a lot of coordination now with the federal government, Homeland Security, local, county, and state police. And number three, and we've talked about this before, we've got to rethink the rules and regulations guiding the NSA, because what it really does is affects the local cop. That information that the NSA could gather through their intelligence gathering resources helps the local cop, and it could save lives.
Stephen Rogers, a detective formerly with the Nutley, New Jersey Police Department. Steve, thanks very much.